Hey guys, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. Hope everybody's having a great weekend so far. And real quick before we get started, if you haven't already subscribed, I'd ask you to please, if you give me a chance, maybe try subscribing and see how you like it. For all those that have subscribed, thank you so much for your support. And lately, I've just been crazy busy with videos and getting ready for the holidays. So if I haven't been commenting as much in the comments, I do apologize, but I do appreciate all your feedback and I have been reading them, and I will try and get to reading more of them this weekend. So today's case takes us back to Alaska. This is the fourth video in a 7-part series, and this is back in Wasilla. And this is a city in Little Susitna, and it is the sixth largest city in Alaska, and it is located in the northern point of Cook Inlet, and it's got a population of roughly 11,000 people, and it's located roughly 43 miles or 69.2 kilometers northeast of Anchorage. And ironically, this was the hometown of Bart, who we just went over in my last video. So kind of a strange coincidence there, but it is a beautiful city. It's very picturesque. It's got surrounded by mountains and rivers and lakes, and it looks absolutely breathtaking, and it's got a very small population. So today we're going to be talking about two brothers who disappeared literally 10 years apart from one another. The first is Michael Palmer. We're going to talk about his disappearance first, and he disappeared on June 4th of 1999, supposedly on Pittman Road in Wasilla, Alaska. And I'm going to go over all this. And then later his brother Charles, Chucky Palmer, disappeared on April 10th of 2010. West of Mastodon Road near Bald Mountain. So let's start by talking about Michael Palmer and what happened there. Michael was in high school at the time. This is an age progressed photo. He would be 37 years old roughly at this time. Now, he went missing on June 4th of 1999. He is roughly 5'5" to 5'6", 110 pounds at the time. He was last seen to be wearing a t-shirt, blue jeans, a black jacket with red stripes on the sleeve, and a Marlboro cigarette label on the label. He's got blonde hair, blue eyes, he's left-handed, and he went by the nickname Mike. At the time of his disappearance, his head was shaved on the sides but longer down the middle. On the night of the disappearance, Michael was spending the night at a friend's house in Wasilla. According to what his friends later told the police, that night they all snuck out to attend a graduation party that was being held in the Meadow Lake subdivision area, which is outside Wasilla, and I'm going to have a map up so you can see. And they were riding their bikes, and I guess that what their friends say, that he had a few beers at the party, but he wasn't intoxicated. So at around 4 a.m. they decided to leave the party. Now they were riding their bikes again, and his home was roughly 9 miles from the location of the party. Now his friends report that they were all riding along, but somehow Michael just started lagging behind, and they went and waited at the 7-Eleven on Parks Highway, which I don't get this part, but apparently they said they just gave up because they thought he just went home. Well, he never actually did get home. And his mother the next day at roughly 3 p.m. reported him missing, which was roughly 11 hours after he was last seen. So the search got underway, and according to Michael's friends, he was last seen on Pittman Road going in the direction of the family's home. Now, this is where it's a little odd. Apparently, the bicycle that he was riding was a bike that he had borrowed, and the Alaska State Troopers can say that that's what it was, but Michael's family says it was a different bike, so already some confusion here. In any event, they found the bicycle in the Little Susitna River, which runs kind of parallel to Pittman Road and the Silver Drive intersection. I'm going to have a picture here. And you can see the river is up running along the same area as the road, but it's not right up against the road. There's lots of woods and thicket between the road and the actual river. In any event, after finding the bicycle, they brought in search dogs to try and drum up more clues and track down Michael, but the dogs could not pick up a scent, and this is even more bizarre. So they found just randomly Michael's wet and muddy high-top Converse sneakers on there was a guy, a homeowner, that owned a little personal airstrip just for a little plane. I'll show a picture. And this guy was out, getting his plane ready, and he found this muddy pair of Converse sneakers that ended up being Michael's. At this point, the Alaska State Troopers sent out dive teams to search the Little Susitna River and various other, all kinds of ground searches. Over 50 searchers went through the woods that separated between the road and where I showed you on the map, where the Susitna River goes past, and they combed that river up and down looking for any trace of Michael or any other clues, and they found absolutely nothing. And of course, at the same time, the state troopers were interviewing all the people that had been at the party, and this is where some speculation comes in. Some reports say that Michael was beaten up by an unknown assailant while riding his bike. This was claimed by a local. He later said that he made that up. Michael's father this whole time has been skeptical of the three friends story, which I completely agree. So he actually hired a couple different private investigators to look into this. And according to him, apparently one of the investigators was actually basically run out of town because she was threatened. The other private investigator working the case was able to uncover rumors that Michael never even left the party and was a victim of a murder or even a kidnapping or both. Of course, none of this has been substantiated, but it has been thought that something very nefarious happened to him that night, because it's just so odd for his bike to be found, off in this river, and then his sneakers to be found randomly in this guy's front yard airstrip. There are some believe that Michael had just been riding and fallen off his bike and fell into the river and passed due to hypothermia. But, okay, that could be plausible, but it doesn't really seem to make any sense because the river wasn't really near the road. I mean, anything is possible, but the only clues that they ever found were his shoes, which were found on that guy's yard, which was roughly a mile from where he was last seen, and his bicycle, which was found in the river. So I am in agreement with the father and the PI. I definitely think something nefarious happened on this, but I don't know. I definitely like to hear what you guys think. But unfortunately, Michael remains missing to this day, and no other trace of him has ever been found. Unfortunately, like I said at the beginning, his brother would also suffer a similar fate. His brother Charles Chucky Palmer V. Now this happened in April of 2010. Now he has another brother too, and Charles, or Chuck, let's call him Chucky. He was 30 at the time. His brother Chris was 32 at the time, and they went on a trip to the Talkeetna Mountains, which are in Alaska, with their stepfather, Chuck Palmer Sr., and a couple of their friends. This was roughly 11 years after Michael had vanished. Now, they parked their cars at the Mastodon Road, and they were going up to go snowmobiling to a cabin near Sheep's Creek. Apparently, they were all fairly familiar with this area, and the brother Chris was the most experienced, a snowmobiler and whatnot. So on that Saturday, April 10th of 2010, apparently the handlebar on his snowmobile, it broke off. So he had to stay behind in the cabin while everyone else went out and, snowmobiled through the woods. Chris said that ordinarily he would be riding in the rear with his younger brother, Chucky. And he said that he's usually the last rider to make sure that nobody gets left behind. But unfortunately, that day he couldn't go out, so Chucky was taking the rear position. Now, the group was heading back towards the cabin on, I guess there's a main trail that goes in and around that area. But roughly at 7 p.m., Chucky somehow became separated from the rest of the team and just basically vanished into thin air. He was considered a good rider, but he wasn't anywhere near as strong of a rider as all the others. And Chris believed that the others were probably riding too fast for Chucky to keep up, and that, Chris or Chucky probably lost sight of them, and so who knows what could have happened. His brother said that he was appropriately dressed for the weather, but unfortunately didn't have any of his survival gear, a GPS, any food or water. He was last reported seen west of Mastodon Road near Bald Mountain, and he was officially reported missing 12 hours later, early on the morning of April 11th. They did find his snowmobile Sunday morning, and apparently it was off of a side trail and it was buried sort of deep in snow. It looked like that had gotten stuck. However, the troopers and everyone on the search, they didn't find any tracks, and they called off the search the next Wednesday, so only a couple days later. They did do an extensive search, but unfortunately, because of the weather apparently was just awful. The helicopters could only get up in the air a few days. There was wet, deep snow that made foot travel really tough. And unfortunately, when the snow is really wet like that, it's really hard for snowmobiles as well. Apparently, they got over 30 inches of snow since the beginning of the search. The state trooper that was in charge of the search, Troy Shuey, said that it was just a really, really tough search due to the weather, and they really couldn't put together what possibly could have happened because they found the snowmobile. However, they didn't find any tracks. Now, they had gotten a lot of snow, but it was deep snow already, so usually when there's deep snow like that and then someone treks through it, you can see the impressions. It's so I don't know, but unfortunately, like I said, the official search was called off on Wednesday, April 15th. They never found any sign of Chucky. No other clues were found, but the case remains open, even though the prevailing thought is that he perished due to exposure, and he was unfortunately declared legally dead in 2011. His brother Chris literally spent weeks searching for his brother, snowmobiling all throughout Bald Mountain, getting together volunteers. And he could not believe that, just 11 years later, he was doing something similar for his other brother. 11 years earlier, excuse me. Now, Chucky is a white male. He's roughly 5'8" to 6 foot tall, roughly 135 to 160 pounds. He was last seen wearing a black Gore-Tex jacket and vest, black snow pants, black boots, and a black snowboarding helmet. He's got brown hair and blue eyes and goes by the name of Chucky. And he was last seen in this area of the Talkeetna Mountains in Alaska. And unfortunately, no other trace of anything has been found. The investigating agency is the Alaska State Troopers. So if by chance you do have any information, please contact them at 907-745-2131. I just can't imagine what happened to either of these brothers, especially Michael. I feel like something nefarious happened to him, and that really needs to be investigated further. With Chucky, it does sound like it was an accident. He might have gotten lost on his snowmobile, but still, then why was he never found? Why wasn't any tracks found? He wasn't that far from the cabin. So that really doesn't make that much sense either. And I can't imagine what Chris, his brother, has gone through and his family. And I just want to dedicate this video to not only Michael and Chucky, but to Chris and, your whole family, and just my blessings and prayers for you guys, and just hope that one day you'll get the answers that you're looking for. And I hope and pray that one way or another, Michael and Chucky can be brought home to you soon. I know how much that can help with the closure and moving on process. My thoughts and prayers go out to you and your entire family. I want to thank everybody for watching, as always, and please be respectful in the comments if you choose to leave them. Remember, these are someone's loved ones. In this case, 2 family members. One family lost 2 family members in 2 separate incidences. Special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me till the end. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I do have 2 more videos in this series that I'm working on, and a whole backlog of other videos of different request videos and some videos that I'm working on from when I lost everything when my system crashed. I was working on a few cases that people had requested, but if you have any case requests, please send them to me via email or leave a comment, and I am going to try and read through more of the comments this weekend. I always appreciate all your feedback, and for those that aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you have any suggestions for me or any cases you'd like me to cover, just send me a message and I will cover any and every case, and I cover every case that has been suggested. It just does take me time to get to certain ones because I do them in order as received, plus I do my own cases that I'm working on, and if there's a case that is recent, like that pops up in the news that is still going on, I will immediately cover that case. And for those of you that are new subscribers, I generally make the announcements at the end of the video, so if you're not interested in that, you can just stop listening after I say thank you for watching. But for those of you that are, I appreciate you always sticking with me to the end, and please let me know what you guys think about the Christmas card idea, because I believe I am going to move forward with that. And for those of you that want one, I just really love the holidays, and I'm hoping everybody is going to have a great Thanksgiving, and would love to hear about what you guys are doing for Thanksgiving and all of the wonderful upcoming holidays that you might be celebrating. I would definitely like to hear what your traditions and celebrations are. And if you'd like to buy a merch calendar, they are $17. I'll have the links in the description. You can either send me $17 by Venmo or PayPal. Thank you so much for all those that have donated or bought a calendar.